Good afternoon and welcome to the January 13th, 2022 hearing of the Seminole County, Florida Special Magistrate. Before we begin, I would like to advise everyone about the procedures that govern appearances before the Special Magistrate. This meeting is open to the public under Florida's Government in the Sunshine Law, and therefore, every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence or argument to offer. The ethics law of the state of Florida requires that the county keep track of every person who appears before an official hearing officer of the county, whether in an effort to influence the special magistrate's decision-making or to encourage the passage, defeat, or modification of any proposal or recommendation of the special magistrate. In order to implement the state law, it is required that every person who appears before the special magistrate be registered with the clerk, to my left. The cases where the respondents are present and signed in will be heard first. You will be sworn in or affirmed by the clerk. Once all of the cases where the respondents are present have been heard, I'll return to hear the remaining cases as they appear on the agenda. When your case is called, please be seated at the table reserved for the respondents, which is the table over here. In that the county has the burden of proving a violation exists, the county will present their case, and then the respondents will be allowed to present their case. Additionally, please limit your comments to only relevant information relating to the case. Each party may question witnesses offered on behalf of the other party. Additionally, staff members may question those appearing before the special magistrate. The special magistrate will then make their decision based upon the evidence and testimony presented by both parties. All proceedings are electronically recorded. Please speak directly into the microphone at the center of the table and state your name clearly before presenting your case. Should you need assistance due to a hearing impairment or a language barrier, please inform the clerk when you register. To avoid interference with cases being presented, all cell phones and other electronic devices are to be turned off or silenced while inside the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation.
If you're going to be testifying, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. The first case I'm calling is 2201 CESM, Respondents Deere and Danya Investment Co.
Yeah, 2201.
I had 2255 as version, my bad.
Sometimes they're out of order based on whether the respondent's here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it should be back there.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is case 2201, CESM, Tom Helly with the Building Division, Dyer and Danya Investment Company Incorporated, 121 West Hillcrest Street, Almont Springs, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, installation of a fence and a garage door replacement without the required permits. The initial inspection was done 12/11/20 with a notice on the same day and a compliance date and extension 11/5/21. And we had the executive order that suspended enforcement for a time. Follow-up site visits and follow-up inspections via computers, the latest being 1/12/22 and 1/13/22. The results of the re-inspections, violations still remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page showing that the respondent is in fact the property owner. Basically, this is a copy of the posting when the hearing date was posted. We have an unpermitted privacy fence, wood privacy fence around the property. And then we have an unpermitted garage door, which you'll see in a second here. That's a view from inside the garage. We also have another picture coming up that shows the garage door to the left on the top of the truck, and then the fence on the right-hand side. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page that shows there's no permits for it, and I believe I checked it this morning, did not see a permit for, or excuse me, a revision for the garage door, and there's no permits for the fence.
And that permit was?
That's a permit. That's a permit for the major renovation they're doing on the home.
Okay, thank you.
This is a copy of Chapter 105.1, which is what they're in violation of. Based on testimony and evidence presented in case 2201 CESM, it is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 121 West Hillcrest Street, Altamont Springs, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. I further recommend the magistrate order the respondents correct the violations on or before March the 11th, 2022. In order to correct the violations, respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. One little side note that since he has a renovation on the home already, he can do a revision to that renovation permit for the garage door, but the fence is a separate permit.
Okay.
That concludes my presentation.
Were you able to have any, and I'll speak to the respondent, but were you able to have any conversations with the respondent?
No.
Okay.
That's,
Do you wish to respond, sir?
Sure. Well, we are
Oh,
on the...
I'm sorry.
yes.
First, for the record, could you state your name?
My name is Behruz Gabrani.
Okay. Are you the property owner?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
may I say something, I forgot? I have not talked to the respondent, but I did talk to the respondent's contractor who's doing the renovation on the home, explained to her what the requirements, what the violations were.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
Sorry.
Sorry, sir.
yeah, I have not been... nobody has told me this stuff, but we are on the verge to get the permit for the fence, and we did not we just changed the fence. There was a fence over there, we just took it out, and the contractor did not tell me that I have to have a permit for that. And the garage door is brand new, and the guy that installed it, he's supposed to get his permit. He did not get the permit. I was not aware of that. Because we have a building permit, he thought that for that, he doesn't have to get a permit. So, but we are on the verge to get both permits.
Okay. Do you know what you need to do to submit the applications and where to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They already, the contractor is gonna get the permits probably this week.
Great.
Yes.
Then I'll go ahead and issue staff's recommended order. This means you have 60 days. You have until March 11th to fix it. There's no fines imposed during that 60 days. If it's not fixed by then you'll be brought back, and a fine of $50 a day could be imposed at that time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good afternoon.
The same. Thank you.
The next case is 2203 CESM, Respondent BAF Assets 3 LLC.
Okay. Good afternoon. Tom Hay with the Building Division. For the record, I have submitted a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk, and has to be noted as admitted as Exhibit 1.
Yeah, we accept it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Your exhibit is accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2203, CESM BAF Assets 3 LLC at 1213 Gay Street, Apopka, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, interior and exterior renovations without the required permits. Initial inspection was done 8/21 of 20 with the notice on the 24th of the same month, the same year, with a compliance date of 11/2 of 21. And again, we had the executive order suspended enforcement, follow-up site visits, 1/4/22, 1/12 of 22. We'll follow up inspections via the computer, various dates. The results of the inspection show the violations remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page showing that the respondent is in fact the property owner. This is a copy of the certified return receipt when we sent them the certified mail. Okay, the interior alterations, we've got a new water heater that was installed. And then on the exterior alterations, there was some work done inside, but it couldn't determine what was actually done. But on the outside, they enclosed this back porch, put a window in, changed. Go ahead. That's just showing debris from there, from the renovations. And then they installed windows, a new air conditioner, and I believe there's windows in the front door and windows on the front, or excuse me, that's on the back. That's the other end of the house on the back. Another window. Keep going. Another back. And then we got another door and window on the other end of the house. And this is a copy of the property appraiser's website, of Navaline, our website page, showing the permits, and the only permit they've had on the property is for the re-roof. Back in 2020, no permits were issued to correct violations. This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is what they're in violation of. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in Case 2203 CESM, it is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 1213 Gay Street, Apopka, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. We further recommend the magistrate or the respondents to correct the violations on or before March 11th of 2022. In order to correct a violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for all the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Does the respondent wish to respond?
Yeah, I think there's some additional things that's been added on post the original notice of violation that came out.
Can I first ask you to tell us who you are?
Sure, sorry. Shane Heidel, I work for Main Street Renewal. We are the parent, this is our parent company. So I'm the construction manager for Central Florida.
Okay. Do you have authority to speak for the owner?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
So I talked to Officer Helly on the phone a couple times. Some of this stuff took place before I came on board, so I was trying to play catch up. The photos that were sent to me in an email were all black. I mean, you couldn't even see what the pictures were of and what he was requesting for permits to be pulled. So I called the contractor and gave them a list of what email correspondence he told me needed to be pulled, which was water heater, siding, and I think interior alterations for kitchen cabinets or something. So during that conversation, there was nothing about AC being replaced or any of that other kind of stuff. And if you notice, the photo of the pictures was just recently, January 4th of 2022. So I don't think this is covered underneath the original notice of violation. We'd be happy to pull the permits for it, but I would think that if we're going to be sent a notice of violation, that we need to get all of the violations put together in one notice up front and not continuously adding to the violations as we continue to go back to the property.
I agree with you on that. I haven't seen the notice of violation, but
Well, it's very vague. That's why I called him originally to say, hey, what is this about?
okay.
Also, did you obtain permission from the tenants to walk around in the backyard?
I did.
Okay. So I don't mind taking care of the issues, that's not the problem, but the problem is, if we're going to write a notice of violation, let's put everything on the table up front and not continue to piecemeal it together as time goes on, as we continue to go back and forth to the property.
Okay, just for the record, I'm just going to take a look at your notice of violation that was issued on August 24th. So the description is interior and exterior renovations without the required permits, and to obtain the required permits for all work that has been done.
And I know the original notice of violation was written by Vicky and then transferred over to Mr. Haley.
Okay,
So-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask Mr. Helly if he is aware, and I'm assuming you probably inherited the case from Ms. Hathaway, but
Yes, ma'am.
some of the pictures, the first 4 pictures are from August 21st, which definitely seems to coincide with the notice of violation, but then those January pictures are for different items that, unless you have some evidence to the contrary, may not have been included in the first notice.
They may not have been included in the first notice, the way that the first notice was written. It said, and that little statement that was at the very bottom that says that get permits for everything that's been done.
Yeah, the issue is we don't know if that was there.
I understand,
Yeah.
and that's my issue. I didn't do the initial inspection, so when I go out and I see new windows in the back and a new air conditioner, yes, they are, and we could pull those and re-cite them if we need to for those, or he can get the permits necessary and not be cited.
Right.
But for them, but yes.
But we
Okay.
didn't do the windows and we didn't do the AC. That's
Well-
not part of the scope that we did. And that's why it's not on the original photos from I'm sorry, what's her last name?
Ms. Hathaway.
Ms. Hathaway. That's why those photos are not present, because if you see her photos, she was in the backyard, she was inside the house, she took pictures of all those items. So those, a lot of times when we purchase properties, they're already rehabbed, and then we purchase the property as is. We do a lot of minor touch-up to make it more tenant-friendly, so remove carpet, put down LVP, that sort of stuff, to make the house last longer. There's a lot of things that we do not do that's already previously done. And by the looks of the old AC unit sitting in the grass, that's been done, that's been sitting there a long time.
Yeah, so there's two things. I agree that you need to be noticed properly for the violations, in that we have evidence of the violations existing in August when the notice was issued, being the water heater, the exterior windows and siding taken on the 21st of August, the discarded construction materials, and the other construction materials in the following picture, all from 8/21/20. So I think those violations are established. With regard to the January photos, so I agree with Mr. Helly that you will have to be re-noticed for that or fix them without being noticed, but the part that I want to point out to you is whether or not you caused those violations, whoever owns the property now is going to be responsible for coming into compliance, even
Yeah,
if they didn't cause them.
That's fine. I just feel like I'm being sideswiped,
You're not.
because the emails and stuff that we transpired and what I told my contractor, the permits he needed to pull, did not include the AC, it did not include windows, because that's not what was discussed with me. So this is new findings, in my opinion.
Well, the August 21st picture does include siding and
Yes.
exterior windows.
Well, no, does it say in the notice of violation, exterior windows?
It's taken in the picture that was accompanying the notice of violation. So I think that's covered, but what I'm
Okay.
saying is, I agree with you on the January photos, that those violations need to be renoticed so that you have adequate time to come into compliance.
That's my concern, is the
That's
time
fine.
frame in order to
And I think the
address it.
county is willing to work with you. The issue is
Yeah.
when someone inherits somebody else's case, they don't always know.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that, but to throw it on the table now and say, okay, within 15 days, 20 days, you have to pull all these extra permits that you weren't aware of to begin with.
Yeah.
And I could understand if I had never had any conversation with Mr. Helly, but when I call someone and say, hey, what is it exactly I need, what do I need to do, and they explain that to me, then I think that that's all that's on my plate.
Understood. Well, what I'm going to, did you want to respond?
If you don't mind, yeah, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, but when I inherited the case, my first trip out there, I was just looking at what was on the NOV, the original notice of violation. When I did actually have access by the tenants, the two times I was out there and Kyle was out there with me this last time, we walked around, that's when we saw the rest of the stuff. So I agree, we can recite you for the other stuff. Or you can get it permitted prior to us reciting it, whichever.
If you guys give me enough time, I can
I'm
throw
sorry?
it in there and take care. If I have enough time, I can throw it in there and take care of it. That's not the issue.
Yes,
It's just
I
that-
got you.
So
Yes,
what,
and-
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but then no, never, I'm done. That's
sure?
good. Yeah, I'm done. He's willing to get it corrected, that's all we really are after anyways, correction and permits, so.
Yeah, we're fine with getting the adequate permits and stuff. I just need the adequate time in order to address
Sure.
the new stuff that was added to it.
Understood. And so we're going to give you 60 days to come into compliance, and the order will be specific as to the violations being the water heater, the exterior windows and siding in the photo taken on the 21st, and the construction materials in the other two pictures taken on August 21st.
That stuff should be gone.
Okay.
That should already
Well-
been removed a long time ago. If we have
Okay.
tenants in the property, we don't leave stuff like that on.
Okay.
Any trash and debris that's around there right now is owned by the tenants. It's personal property of the tenants.
But it still has to be in compliance. I mean, I don't know what's there, but they're testifying that it's still in violation. Is there still trash and debris?
Is there trash?
The trash and debris is not a violation, not for us. And the trash and debris was in a.
The construction debris
Correct.
is
Yes.
not a violation.
No, it's not, because
Okay.
that's part of that was part of the renovation. I don't know if it's part of the re-roof that they had a permit for or what else it was in there. And that trash and debris was in a container, so it's not part of the violation. The violation is only the unpermitted construction.
Okay, then we don't need the pictures of it.
No.
Okay, so then the violation is the water heater with the photo from 8/21. of 2020, and the exterior windows and siding taken on 8/21/20. Any other violations will have to be renoticed. So you will have
Yes.
60 days to fix those items. There will be no fines during that time. If you don't come into compliance by March 11th of 2022, a $50 fine per day may be imposed. You would be renoticed for another hearing at that time. Also, if you have issues for various reasons, you can always request more time, and depending on what the issues are, we may or may not, have staff support, and I may or may not agree.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too.
The next case is 2204 CESM, respondents Vasquez and Ray.
Any of these?
You can hand them to the clerk.
Okay.
Thank you. Ready.
Yep, okay, good afternoon, Tom Helly, Seminole County Building. This is case 2204 CESM, Selma Vasquez and Diane Ray, 5880 Dean Road, Oviedo, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violations, unpermitted installation of a fence. Initial inspection was done 3/18 of 21 with the notice responded at that point in time in a compliance date of 11/3 of 21 with executive order suspending enforcement, follow-up site visits, inspections, other inspections via computer. The results of the inspection show the violations remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website. It shows that the respondents are in fact property owners. This is a copy of the posting on 12/30 of 21. Basically, it's a picture taken 3/15 of 21 of the fence, which is the violation, and another angle of the end of the fence. Another picture taken 12/15 of 21. Another one on the same date. Another one. And then one taken on 1/12/22. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page, of Navaline's website page that shows no permits are issued to correct the violation. This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is what they're in violation of. My recommendation is that based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2204 CESM, it's determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 5880 Dean Road, Oviedo, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. I further recommend that the magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before March 11th of 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required inspections for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply, recommend with the order a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. And for the record, I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1, asked to be entered into the record.
That is accepted. Thank
Thank you,
you.
and that concludes my testimony.
Does the respondent wish to respond?
Yes, Anthony Marilla, I am the tenant, and I do have permission to speak on behalf of Ms. Ray. I'm the tenant of this property, and I'm also a state of Florida licensed general contractor. Apologize, I see the notices here. She did not receive them. I did not receive them. I have had some, with not yourself, Mr. Hale, with one of the other officers on some other issues, because we've had some neighbors that just like to complain. And for reference, I've included some of the things just to catch you up. A lot of this property was part of an eminent domain takedown. You can see on the property appraisal's website where we switched it to, it was 2 parcels. At one point, it's now 1 parcel. The fence, we did not, the fence is a long time, the fence has been there. I did install the windscreen on the fence. That is all we've done, which when I first got notice of this, I called down and it's opened up another can of worms, because I do understand the closed fence, right-of-ways, all of that stuff as a contractor, totally. But what it is, the fence has always been there as is, untouched. We put the windscreen there, in essence saying until the construction starts and we have to relocate that fence, and you can see we've been given a variance for the closed fence for a block wall.
Your variance was granted already?
Yes, I assume that was in the eminent domain. I don't want to swear to that, but I was told by the eminent domain attorney that, yes, that was all handled at that time.
Okay.
Again, not being the owner, I didn't look that far into it. Based on what they have told me, yes, the variance was granted based on this, which is a big issue for this property. As far as the fence, I have called several times to try to, I was happy to come down and pull a permit, or figure out, it's not an impediment at all, a visual impediment, none whatsoever. So I'm willing to do whatever, but in hindsight, I don't want this to be, for Ms. Ray as the owner, if this is held, that we installed the fence, which we did not, A, or B, that it impedes the code of the closed fence versus open fence, land development code.
So you're not here on that issue. That may or may not be an issue, but
It may or may not
it's
be.
not for your violation today. Today, it's just you have a fence without a permit.
A windscreen, yes.
Well, let's talk to the county about that, because the violation I have is for installation of a fence without a permit. So let's just assume, I just want to assume, I'm not saying this is true or false. Let's
Yes,
just
ma'am.
assume the fence has been there forever. What if he just added a windscreen? Does that require a separate permit?
Likely, yes, because now you're making it something more susceptible to catching the wind and possibly becoming a projectile, such as if it were a wood fence or a PVC fence, that type of thing. But I do remember there's some information going way back, so I was speaking to the building official. I'd like to continue it for a couple months to get a little more research done before we move forward with the case,
Okay.
because it is a
100%.
unique situation.
And if you look at when that property was purchased from the county, the survey shows the fence on there.
Okay. Well, how long of a continuance would you like, or do you just want to withdraw it?
I'll just withdraw it.
Okay.
Okay.
Case is dismissed. Thank you. So next case we have is going to be 2147 CESM DMH Partners Incorporated.
Before we move forward, Mr. Crump, on this last case, well, I've withdrawn it, but I can refile. I find there is a violation,
Oh,
correct?
yes, without
Okay.
prejudice. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You don't have a PowerPoint.
But you would have to
for that.
renotice and start over.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
You don't have a PowerPoint for that one.
Right.
one is it?
That's because it is a
It's a
special request.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
This is the old PowerPoint. Okay. Okay, this is case 2147, CESM DMH Partners, Inc. I believe this is a special request from a previous case, existing case for some unpermitted construction. 3053 West State Road, 426th Street, 111. Violation charge was charged, Seminole County, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, which is basically what happened was they combined multiple units into one unit without the required permits. And of course, do you want to run through this, or since it's an existing case?
Well, it
do we-
depends. It depends on if you object to the request for more time. If you do,
Okay.
we'll run through the whole thing. If you don't, we'll grant it.
Depends on how much time he wants. Basically what happened, they took 3 spaces and turned them into 1, and now he's got possible change of use issues and other issues that may take a little more time than a standard 30-day
Right.
permit. So it's going to be a little bit more involved than a standard permit because of the situation that's on site. We were on site, Kyle and I were on site yesterday and took some pictures of it and have a better understanding of what's happening inside of it now. So
That
I would
makes
not object to
sense.
time. I would, 90 days, is that?
90 days?
That's fine. I'm James Fox, authorized representative of DMH Partners.
Thank you.
That'd be very much
Okay,
appreciated.
well, we will not get into the facts and whether there's a violation, then we will just go ahead and continue the case for 90 days.
Okay.
We are extending the compliance date and wiping the fines to be technically correct.
Okay. Okay.
And that 90-day date is April 14th? So So the 90 days will be April 14th, 2022.
Very good. Got it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Where's my mouse?
Okay, I believe, Madam Clerk, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was all of the items where the respondent was present? Sir, are you here for a specific case?
Yes, 3572 Jericho.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so we will do 2155 CESM next. Respondent, Mr. Salazar, can come on down and have a seat at the table over here, please.
Oh, there he is, okay. Okay. Good afternoon, Tom Helly with the Building Division, Seminole County. This is case 2155 CESM. For the record, I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint to the clerk, asked to be admitted into Exhibit 1.
Accepted.
Thank you. 3572 Jericho Drive, Castleberry, violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, unpermitted installation of a fence. Initial inspection was done on 4/28 with a notice issued the same day with a compliance date of 10/22 of 21 with executive order suspending enforcement. Various follow-up site visits, as noted, as well as computer inspection, looking for permits on the computer system. Results of the reinspection shows a violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser website page showing that the respondent is in fact the owner of the property. This is a copy of the posting. It was posted on 12/30 of 21. Basically, this is a copy of a permit, of the fence that was installed without a permit. Keep going. He does have a permit application in the system on the top one, 218545, for the fence, but he has some zoning issues that he's been dealing with and may have to go for a variance depending upon the type of fence. He may have an option of redoing the way the fence is designed, which may help him in that respect too, but he needs to talk to planning development to verify that. And next one. This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is the code that he's in violation of. Based on testimony and the evidence presented in case 2155 CESM, it's determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 3572 Jericho Drive, Castleberry, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in control or possession of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. I also further recommend that the magistrate order the respondent to correct a violation on or before March 11th of 22. In order to correct the violation, respondent shall obtain the required permit for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. And for the record, I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk, asked to be admitted into evidence.
It is accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, do you wish to respond?
My name's Sergio Salazar. Actually, I think I should be able to get the permit by March 11th, so that should be fine.
Okay. If you have any problems, you can ask for more time, but it's always best to try to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I will go ahead and issue staff's recommended order. Do you have any questions?
No, I think my question's more going to be towards the permitting department.
Okay. And have you already applied for a variance?
I was going to, but it was going to be an after-the-fact variance, and right now with COVID and Christmas and everything, it was a bit expensive for me to...
I just ask that because if it's not even applied for yet, he'd never be able to come into compliance by March 11th, because they have to schedule, have to review your application, schedule you a public hearing, and then you still have to take that if it's granted and apply for the permit.
Right.
So if you haven't even applied for the variance yet, I mean, is this still
No.
your request?
No, I did not, because see, he also has a possibility, he might be able to to speak with planning and discuss with the planner who's working with this process. There may be some ways that he may not have to go for
Okay.
variance, but that's something that they need to discuss from a planning point of view. I don't get into
Okay.
that because I'm not planning. But I would not have a problem if you want to extend it to give him time because of the variance if he does have to go for one.
It's up to you. We can go with this order, and then if he needs more time, he can come back, or we can go ahead and push it to April and not wait, not come
Let's go
back.
ahead and push it to April and then now give him an extra 30 days.
Okay, so the new compliance date will be April 14th, 2022, so you have 90 days.
Perfect.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon.
You too.
Okay, are there any other respondents left in the room? Then we will go ahead and finish the last two cases without respondents. Next case is 2202 CESM, respondent Ofori.
Okay. For the record, I have submitted a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk, asked to be admitted to evidence.
It is accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2202 CESM Christy M. Ofori, 1825 Peruvian Lane, Winter Park, violation Seminole County, violation charge Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, installation of a roof structure over a pool and deck without the required permit. Initial inspection was done 2/1/21 with the notice on the same date with the compliance date of 11/8/21. Then we had the executive order that stopped enforcement, follow-up site inspections, and various follow-up inspections on the computer. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page that shows the respondent is in fact the property owner. This is a copy of the return receipt, certified mail. We have, see right over top of the shed, over top of the fence, we have a roof-type structure that's been constructed adjacent to the house and across portions of the pool, which we'll see in further pictures. There's another picture from the outside, and this is one we took on 12/10. This is showing, if you look to the bottom right corner, you see the structure being constructed. Looks like slats
Oh,
onto the right corner of the pool, right in the
Yeah.
lower right-hand corner.
okay.
Go ahead. This shows there was nothing there. On the left-hand side, see how it's curling around the pool?
Yeah.
That's the roof structure. And there's another portion of it there, and there's also a piece up against the house itself that did not appear in any of the aerial photography before. This is, by the way, these aerial photographies come from our pictometry program. And on here, there's a list of the permits. There are no permits on here for the violation to correct it. There's multiple permits in there, but most of them, the top two are fire-related permits, fire division permits, but nothing for the structures that they've been building, that they have built. This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is the code they're in violation of, Seminole County Code. Based on testimony and evidence presented in case 2202 CESM, is determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 1825 Peruvian Lane, Winter Park, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. I further recommend that the magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before March 11th, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. And this concludes my presentation.
Okay, so ordered. The last case is continued, or are we hearing it? Okay, so we are hearing it. Okay, so the next case is 2160 CESM, respondents Marlette and Fayer.
This is a continued case from 2160 CESM, Justin Marlette and Kara Fayer, 1120 B Lane, Geneva, Seminole County, Florida, violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violations: gate, electric, possible plumbing and shed-type structure installed without the required permit. This initial inspection was on 4/28/21 with a notice to the respondent the same day. Compliance date and extension 9/22/21. The executive order suspending 3/17 to to 3.2, follow-up site inspections, various follow-up inspections via computer. The results of the re-inspection show the violations remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page that shows that the respondents are in fact the property owners. This is a copy of the certified return receipt showing they received the certified mail. Now, at the last hearing, when they were at, he maintains that the washer and dryer connections and that little shed-type structure were removed. But when I've been out there to post it and to do the drive-by to see if the violations exist, we could not see that structure. We could still see the gate. The gate's there. The gate still requires a permit. And I believe he has some floodlights that are part of the electrical that need a permit as well. But I can't verify that structure, and I've not been able to gain access. He has no trespassing signs. The gates are always shut.
Well, it's their responsibility to call for an inspection
Yes.
to show compliance, right?
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Speak to Mr. Marlett this morning. He called to inform me he would not be here today. He said he did remove that, but he was advised not to allow anybody on the property.
Okay. This is the better picture of the gate. Another picture of the gate, the address. And this is a copy of the print screen out of Navline, our computer system showing no permits were issued for the cited violation. This is a copy of Chapter 40, of what they're in violation of. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case 2160 CESM, it is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 1120 B Lane, Geneva, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession and control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. I further recommend that the magistrate,
Sorry.
that's okay, order the respondents to correct the violations on before March 11th, 2022. In order to correct the violations, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations, or if, and as far as the little washer and dryer type, shed type thing, if that's gone, then we just need to verify that it's gone. He would not have to have a permit to remove it. Didn't have it's just sitting there, from what I was able to see. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue. Orders repeated after compliance, and for the record, I've submitted this copy of this PowerPoint to the clerk, as to be admitted to the evidence.
That's accepted.
And thank you, and that concludes my presentation.
So just curious, he's calling to tell us that something has been removed, but does he give any indication of whether he's trying to come into compliance? Is he
No,
going
ma'am.
to apply for permits?
At the last hearing, when he was here, we had a discussion, and I said, please call me. I'd be more than happy to come out and meet with you and discuss everything and see what's happening, verify that the washer and dryer little shed thing is gone. Gave him my phone number. Have not heard from the gentleman. So best we can do, we drive up to the property, and we see the gate's still there. I can't see the washer and dryer thing. If it may be there, it may not be there, I don't know. But I can't tell, and I'm not going on the property. He's got no trespassing signs, and the gate is usually shut when I drive by, so.
Well, he could have provided photographs or something of the area with the washer and dryer removed, but we have no
Yes, ma'am.
evidence it's been removed.
No,
And then
ma'am.
the electric and plumbing is still in violation, right? Because you already saw that and there's no permits, or is that
Well,
in question?
It's with the gates being shut and the no trespassing signs, I didn't actually get in to see it. I could tell. The case came from a code enforcement officer, and she had access, and she gave us the pictures. He can't use a washer and dryer without water and without electric unless he's using a generator, but I've not been on site to be able to find out how he's actually doing it. So it's an assumption. He does have power there because there was a permit for a mobile home, and I'm guessing a power pole from 1988, way back when. And so I'm assuming that power's still there, and that's how they're getting their power. But they still have to run power, to get power from the pole to the washer and dryer. But if they're gone, then those two are not. But I can't see, and it's very wooded there, and I'm not going to trespass, so.
I mean, maybe when we I'm going to find this in violation clearly,
Yes, ma'am.
and go ahead and issue staff's recommended order, but I don't know, maybe when we send him the order, we can either speak to him or send him a letter that says, provide evidence if these things are fixed, because your word alone isn't enough. If you can't go on the property, perhaps he can take photos or something, I don't know.
Well, I've had no contact with him since the last hearing. I think it was like 2 hearings ago.
Okay.
I
Apparently,
believe
he's
so.
called the clerk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so ordered.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our cases. We will go ahead and approve the minutes of December 9th, 2021, and confirm the date of our next meeting is February 10th, 2022. And we are adjourned.